Lesson 8, Help. The following problems are the lesson practice problems from page 39. Pause the video and attempt the problems on your own to ensure that you know what you're doing. There's also one additional problem at the very end, not from the lesson practice. Remember the steps from class. Step 1, write the given as a fraction, so put it over 1 if that's necessary. Step 2, think of a conversion factor involving what you're changing and what you want it to be. On page 888 of your textbook, you can find a list of conversions. Step 3, multiply the fraction by a unit ratio, which comes from that conversion factor, so that what you're changing is opposite where it is now. The first problem has a mourning dove can reach speeds of up to 35 miles per hour. How fast is this in feet per hour? 35 miles per hour becomes our fraction, 35 miles. The per becomes a fraction bar, and then hour, and it's a single hour, so we'll put 1. The conversion factor here is that 5,280 feet are in 1 mile. So 35 miles per hour, we multiply that by, we're going to turn this conversion factor into a fraction. We don't want miles anymore, they're on top, so to get rid of them, we need to put them opposite of where they are, which means they'll go on bottom. Feet will go on top. Now we just put the numbers in where they belong, so 5,280 feet, and 1 goes with mile. Miles cancel, and we are now left with multiplying straight across the top, which 35 times 5,280 is 184,800 feet over 1 hour, which might be easier to just write it as 184,800 feet per hour. An interior wall measures 4.5 yards by 3.25 yards. What is the size of the wall in square feet? The fact that it says square feet tells us that we're dealing with area. So we need to find the area of this wall. And area, a wall is rectangular, so it'll be base times height. So we'll start by finding the area, which is 4.5 yards by 3.25 yards. You want to keep your units there. So 4.5 times 3.25 equals 14.625. Yards times yards is yards squared. But just keep in mind that because you're multiplying it by itself. We're also going to continue thinking about it as yards times yards. Because when I go to put that in my fraction, which is my technical first step of conversion, I want to remind myself that I've got to convert both of those yards. I don't have anything to put on bottom of this fraction, so it's going to be over 1. Like I just said, I have to convert both steps of those yards. I know that 3 feet equals 1 yard. I don't want yards anymore, they're on top, so I need them to be opposite of where they are right now so that it'll cancel out. I'm changing them into feet, so I need those to be there as well. 3 feet, 1 yard. Verify that you've set it up correctly by seeing if the units will cross cancel. 14.625 times 3 times 3 equals 131.625. Feet times feet is feet squared, or square feet, and it's just going to be over 1 on the bottom. That is the wall, or the size in square feet. The next problem, Della has a small bag containing 50 cubic centimeters of potting soil. Her planter has a volume of 46,300 cubic millimeters. Does she have enough soil to fill the planter? To answer this question, we got to be able to compare them side by side. We've got cubic centimeters and we've got cubic millimeters. So we're going to convert cubic millimeters into cubic centimeters. So we have 46,300 300 cubic millimeters would be millimeters, 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 which are times. But that means that we're going to have 3 different conversions that we have to do. The basics of all of them is that we don't want millimeters anymore, so they got to be opposite where they are, so they're going to be on bottom. And we do want centimeters. So we'll put that in the opposite place. Now 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. And now we cross cancel our millimeters, again verifying that we've set it up correctly. Multiply straight across the top, including the units, straight across the bottom. There are no units left on bottom, but there are numbers, 10 times 10 times 10. And this equals 46.3 centimeters cubed. That's how much she needs, because that's the size of the planter. She has 50 cubic centimeters, which tells us that yes, she has enough, and that's really the question. But this would need to be there to verify that you're not just guessing that answer. Last problem from the problem practice, and then one more. Author just returned from London. He has 16 British pounds to convert to American dollars. So 16 pounds is what he has. It's our given. We're going to change it into a fraction, so we'll stick it over 1. He doesn't want pounds anymore. They're on top. They need to go to the bottom. He does want dollars. If the exchange rate is 1 pound equals $2 or $2.016, what is the value of that in pounds? Or in dollars. So we're going to cancel out those pounds. And 16 times 2.016, which is straight across the top, is 32.256. The units are dollars. And we'll just go ahead and leave it like that, even though dollars usually are cut off after the hundredths place. One more problem that does not come from the lesson practice. Convert 65 miles per hour into miles per minute. So 65 miles per hour is the given. We're going to put that into a fraction. So 65, like we did before, miles. The per becomes the fraction bar, and it's going to be 1 hour. Now, notice this time I am okay with keeping miles, so I don't want to change miles. What I actually want to do is I want to change minutes. I want to change minutes, well, actually change hours into minutes. So we know that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. I don't want hours anymore. I need to write them opposite of where they currently are. They're currently on bottom, so I'm going to have to write them up here on top. And then I'm going to write minutes in the opposite location, where whatever's left over. And 1 hour equals 60 minutes. Now I multiply straight across the top after I cross cancel and verify that everything's set up correctly. I multiply straight across the top, 65 miles. Straight across the bottom, 60 minutes. And 65 divided by 60 is 1.083, repeating, miles per minute.